Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 27th episode of the Coffee with Cosmos DB series. It's been a while since we had our last episode. Also, we had the Azure Cosmos DB Conf 2024 yesterday. If you have missed to watch the sessions, you can also watch it on demand. The link is highlighted here. You can go and watch the recordings offline as well. If you have missed to join our previous episodes, you can watch the recording in the playlist. Also, if you're interested in presenting in this channel, please submit your talk via the link displayed below in the description of this video. If you would like to know more about a particular feature or a topic, please ask in the chat so that we can take it up and discuss in the upcoming sessions. This series is all about spreading the knowledge on Cosmos DB by the experts to the community. So please make sure to subscribe the channel and share with the community members who are willing to learn more about Azure Cosmos DB. With that, let me introduce our guest for today. Today we have a special guest from Tomo, who is from JTech Creations, who is also a Azure Cosmos DB community champion. Let me add him to the stage. Hi, Tomo.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, doing well. How about you?
Good. Yeah, we just enjoyed the Cosmos DB Conf in this morning, and it's nice to have another session today.
It's great to have you on the show, and glad that you enjoyed the Cosmos DB Conf. Yeah, today's topic is very interesting. I think you will be talking about event sourcing, and it's one of the widely important topic for distributed applications. I'm super excited to listen and also ask few questions. Yeah, take it forward.
Yep. So let me start sharing screen.
Before that, if you would like to introduce yourself, yeah, you can introduce
Oh,
yourself.
yes. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so my name is Tomo Takaoka, and then I have some first slide, and then the VP of the JTech Creations, and I'm working for the Japanese branch for JTech Japan as well. And we are developing the Sekiban event sourcing and CQRS framework. And I'm living in California, the Long Beach, California, USA. And my hobby is making trackball with 3D printed, like in the picture. So today, I will present event sourcing and Azure Cosmos DB with the framework that we are making that called Sekiban. And the topic will be what is Sekiban and how Sekiban and Azure Cosmos DB improve application development. And we can show some demos today. So let's get started. And first part is what is Sekiban. And Sekiban is the event sourcing and CQRS framework, a development framework, and then written with the and written for the ASP.NET Core and C Sharp. And we use the modern C Sharp. We just start developing this project about 2 years ago, and officially open source release in last year, December 2023. So it's very new framework. And it's so far no paid version for now. So everybody can use exactly what we are using in our company. And we have a multiple event storage options. And the main one would be Azure Cosmos DB with NoSQL database. And also, the PostgreSQL is available. And then we've tested with Azure Cosmos DB Postgres compatible as well. And then if you're using the AWS, we can deploy that for the DynamoDB as well. And then this project is sponsored by Japan Technical Software, the parent company of our company. And the architecture will be like this. So users connected mobile device or desktop to the front end, and the front end is communicating with the back end with the app service usually. And app service is provided by the Sekiban that generated web API from domain, and domain, so developer can focus the code writing on the domain code, which is commands or events or aggregates, queries, projections, so forth. And the developer can select which event store you want to use, Cosmos DB, Postgres, or DynamoDB. So to talk about the Sekiban, we need to understand first what is event sourcing. So event sourcing is instead of storing just the current state of the data in the domain, use append-only store to record the full series of actions taken on that data. And to store act as a system, a record can be used to materialize the domain object, and this can simply task and complex domains by avoiding the need to synchronize the data model and the business domain, improving performance, scalability, and responsiveness. So this is taken from the Microsoft website talking about the event sourcing pattern. So it is just instead of the deleting or updating the records, just append only, you add the data. So to understand this, we use this analogy many times. So it's like a chess position diagram. So if it's state sourcing, it's like you can see the chess position diagram like this in the left. So you can see clearly which part is which place. So you can see, understand really well. That's a state sourcing. So you can see the current state. Instead, event sourcing is like this chess notation. So if you are good with chess, probably if you see this, and then if you follow this and then move all the pieces, and you can conclude current state is like this. But so saving the data with event sourcing seems like difficult, but still you can see all the history, so we can understand all the situation, what happened and why that happened in the current state. So that's the analogy of the event sourcing with current regular state sourcing. And more for the application wise, we can compare state sourcing and event sourcing like this. So this is regular state sourcing. Imagine you are using RDB, relational database, to make the shopping cart. And first, adding coffee, and next, adding orange, and third, adding tea. So we have coffee, orange, and tea. So when we remove one orange, we remove the orange records, so we have coffee and tea. So that's a normal, but usually state removes the records when it's deleted. If we save history for every records, it is so many data and hard to find reason for finding the deletion. So if we need to know why we deleted, we need to make the separate tables. But event sourcing, when we use event sourcing, it's going to be like this. When adding coffee, you just add coffee added, adding orange, orange added, adding tea, tea added, and when we remove the orange, we add the record of orange removed. So instead of the deleting the orange added record, you append the orange removed records, so we can understand orange is removed and then coffee and tea is left. So by using like this, using event sourcing, we can remove the data of the data analysis or adding features. So later, if you want to suggest something deleted for the another occasion, you can just search for the removed record and suggest for, do you want this item again? And also we can track history of the data that helps to audit or debug capabilities. So that's a basic of the Sekiban and event sourcing. And next part, I will explain how Sekiban and Cosmos DB improve development. And like recently, in the February, on the Cosmos DB blog, we have the Azure Cosmos DB design patterns, which is part 6 was event sourcing, and part 7 is materialized views. So we can see the Cosmos DB is used a lot for the event sourcing, and if you follow this article, you can make the basic part of the event sourcing. But event sourcing, to do the event sourcing, there's many features we need to implement. For example, we play the aggregate events to get state. But it gets slower if you have a lot of events, so you need to take snapshots. And to not writing the duplicate data, we can make the optimistic version check or single thread for each aggregate. And to see all the data as a whole and query, we can make aggregate projection as well. And event versions, multiple database support, testing framework, tenant projections, web API integration, multiple projection snapshot, auto-generate snapshot in background process, etc., etc. So there's many small features that we need to implement to use that as an event sourcing system. And Sekiban framework is all those features, so developer doesn't need to implement those features, and we can focus on writing on the domains and define what the command and event is. So by doing that, all those other feature comes with a framework. And also the Azure Cosmos DB is a great place the great database for storing the append-only data, because it has the multi-region scalability and huge data availability. Especially event sourcing is started with Greg Young in 2006 or 7, around that time. And then back then, it's hard to buy a lot of storage. But now, we can buy the terabyte storage, petabyte storage in the reasonable price. So and especially the Cosmos DB is very good for storing a lot of data. So that's why we don't need to develop those distributional features. We can use the Cosmos DB to get that feature as well. And especially that we like the partitioning feature, and we don't need to manage the little partition detail. The Cosmos DB automatically make logical partitions and physical partitions so that we can get all the benefit. And replication, indexing, caching, global distribution, those features that we get by using Cosmos DB, it comes with it, so it's appreciated. And also the Cosmos DB.
Sorry to interrupt, Tomo.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a question on the chat.
Mm-hmm.
How this framework is different from implementing event sourcing using Azure Functions and Event Hub?
Yeah, this framework can be used with Azure Functions and also be connected with the Event Hub. But I think even though if you use the Azure Function or Event Hub, you still need to replay data. You still need the consistency check and those part. And those features are implemented with the framework. So even though you use the different the functions and Event Hub, you still easier if you use the framework.
Got it. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So next part we like the Cosmos DB is JSON flexibility. So I'm used to using the relational database with primitive data like int, string, and double is like that. But when we start using the JSON as a saving data, it expand a lot of features, especially not saving the exact same data for the same type. We can use the interface, for example, like this email contact info, and you can derive that with the verified email and unverified email, two different types. And in C Sharp, you can use the JSON derived type, and then it stores the type information in the JSON as well. So using that polymorphic way of solving the data, we can save the more complex business domain into the JSON directory. So we really like that feature. And also that we are utilizing the hierarchical partition key, and which is in the newly introduced last year, I think 2023, and it can save up to 3 partitions can be set. And Sekiban use that as a default. And first for the tenant data, and second for aggregate type. So if it's something like users or it's students, sometimes we need to see all that student and make the query or make the projection, and using those aggregate type as a partition key, we can speed up those query as well. And also that each aggregate has a regular partition ID. So we use those 3 partitions to make that more efficient way of getting the data. And currently, especially we are in a small company, and we are making the application for small enterprise companies. So we focus for small and medium enterprise application, but it still has the feature that large scale application as well. But we are in the development of the materialized view and microservice function support. Those we can already use if you develop ourselves. I mean, each application can implement using the change feed or as a proxy supports or shading, and we can use those to develop our own currently, but we want to make that as easy to use with the framework as well. So that will improve the easier to use the large scalability feature as well. So that's what we are planning to make improve for now. And so let's see the demo. Okay, so the first demo is using Azure Cosmos DB instance to develop. So that's especially now, and I'm using the Mac OS. So we can not run the container. Maybe Sergi knows how to run the Mac container in ARM, but I mean the Cosmos DB container. But we usually use this make the Azure instance, and this time we make the Coffee 2024 for 17, and currently there's no data. But because of the pricing, we like to use serverless. And serverless we cannot make from the C# code, so we just make those events container and items container. So if you see the setting, you can see there's 3 partition is already set. And then go to the keys, and then you can get the primary connection string. And then we can set to the, let me see, projects. And in the connection string, the writer has the feature to manage the user secret, exactly same as Visual Studio. And we can set the Cosmos DB connection string, very simple. And in upsetting JSON, very simple. There's no much data inside. And for the domain, it's going to be like this. For domain project, there's each aggregates, and then for the user point, this is like a point management sample that we can be accessed, everybody can access in the Sekiban repository, and we will share the repository information later. And this has the name, email, point, and as an event, user point created, user point name changed, and point received, and point used. And to make those events, we need to define the commands. And we define two commands first: create user point and change user point name. And this is a simple domain that we set as a sample. And then in the domain dependency, we add the aggregate as a user point, and we define the command and command handler link. So that way Sekiban can use those information. And there's a testing project is very simple as well. Just write aggregate test and user point aggregate, and you can define when command then payload is, given command when command then payload is. So we can define the testing, the very simple. And for the website is very simple as well. In the web project, basically only program CS. And in the program CS, we can add the Sekiban and add the Cosmos DB and add the web projects, so we can generate web APIs from this. And very simple Swagger codes and the map controllers, because we use the controllers to generate the APIs. So let's run these projects. And this Swagger's coming up. And like this, just defining those information, it automatically generate the create user point, post API, and change username post API, and also simple aggregate list query, which is select query. So let's try this first. And first it's empty. And then let's create the user point with trying out, and then set the name Tomo Takaoka and TT, and I have 10,000 point. And let's execute it. And it was very quick, and it's succeeded. And after succeeded, you can do the select again. Select simple aggregate list query, execute, and there's one record. So this is the state that already calculated, and Tomo Takaoka is 10,000 point. But imagine that I made the need to change the name. And to change the name, you need to get those aggregate ID. It's not this one. It's this one. Get the ID. And put the new name. So my long name, Tomohisa Takaoka. And execute. And it's succeeded. And then you can see the version changed to number 2. And then if you select again, there's only still one the aggregate, because it was same aggregate updated, so its version became 2, and then my name became the one that new name. And if you see the Cosmos DB, you can see this in the events. There's 2 items, which was first Tomo Takaoka one and updated Tomohisa Takaoka one. So instead of changing the records, we append the updated record, and then automatically calculate those state changes in the with the framework. So that's the first demo that we can use Cosmos DB itself. And the second demo is another one is we use the Windows for the Aspire. So we really like the .NET Aspire, and we need to use the preview version of the Visual Studio. And the Aspire help us to make the container, so we don't need to really have the Azure Cosmos DB. We can start up the container in the Windows. So if you see the app host, we can put the Postgres, and then also Postgres API, Aspire, Cosmos DB container, and then Cosmos DB container API as well. This code also be available in the Sekiban projects. So let's run. And Aspire is starting up all the container, and it doesn't take that long. Yes, like this. There's Postgres is coming up. Oops. And Postgres admin is coming up, and also the Cosmos instance is coming up. The one thing you need to be really careful is Cosmos DB container takes a little bit time for starting up. And then even it says starting and started, and then after this, it says started. Yeah, started. But it takes some time to like really start it up, and then we can really access the data. Like if you go app service, and then this one has a create account user. Let me see. And Tomohisa, and it try to execute it. And like this, probably it's not started up, so that it doesn't respond. But if you wait a little while, it's gonna start up and we can start accessing. So Aspire helps us to build. Oh, let me see. Oh yeah, this error comes up, and then second time, I think it's gonna be success. Let's see. Oh
Yeah, until it gets started, there is a question on the chat whether this can be used with Python.
Unfortunately, we made especially for the C#. So, but Python also has some event sourcing frameworks, so you might probably look at it. And then the Cosmos DB is very good with the Python, so I'm sure there's some good framework too you can find.
And do you have any plans in the future to add Python library?
I'm not really good at Python, so I don't know. But yeah, so I probably look for it and then answer in the Twitter later. Okay, so it's startup, and then it's already a success. So it takes a little time, but you can use Aspire, and Aspire really help to make the development environment, and we really enjoy using and setting up the developing environment. So that's the demo, and then we're gonna go to the conclusion. And for the conclusion, the using Sekiban and Azure Cosmos DB, application developer can use power of Azure Cosmos DB with easily develop complex business model. So using the JSON and using event sourcing as well. So event sourcing is a pattern that needs some understanding and knowledge to get used to, but very powerful when we use properly. And it will be great tool in your toolbox to easily develop event sourcing application using framework like Sekiban. So that's my presentation today, and you can give us feedback at X Tomohisa or Sekiban Dev, and there's a website for Sekiban and GitHub page. And if you like our framework, that we really appreciate it. So that's my presentation.
I have already added stuff. I really like the framework, and also
Oh, thank you, thank
you
you.
have yes, you have gone with approach to the step-by-step instruction of Cosmos DB and also how to build the application. That's great. And, thanks for joining. I mean, it was a great session. I don't see any other questions on the chat. But if you have any offline questions, probably we can take them offline. You can come back and answer as well. Yeah, thanks, Tomo, for joining this episode. And thanks for answering all the questions.
You're welcome.
Looking forward to having you in another session also. Like once you go GA, probably we will have
Sure.
discussions around this. Thanks for joining. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining.
You too.